shaping the future. This is our world.
Hi, it's the season finale of It's a Woman's World, and boy, do we have a good one for you. Now, we've talked about clothes on the show all season, but today our focus is on jackets, but not the ones that you think. Or is it? Welcome, I'm Stacey Ann, and my ladies Ty and Kareen are still by my side.
Hi, Stacey Ann. You're looking fierce today.
Why, thank you very much, my darling. So do you.
Thank you very much.
And you too, Kareen.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming up with that all on your own.
Yeah, you look gorgeous.
Oh,
like,
no,
totally.
it's so sincere from all of you.
That's true. No, but
you know you're a hot girl. No matter what.
This
so.
is true. Thank you very much.
Nice.
No, but guys, I'm so excited about the show today. I feel like everybody needs to call everybody into the room because today we are taking it there.
All right, you heard Kareen. Get on those phones, call your friends. We're going to have lots of exciting conversation right after this break.
A man who understands sex, he know when he gets somebody pregnant. So if I go to a woman and I never get her pregnant, it's hard for she to tell me it's my child.
Oh man, these kids are mine, man. I don't need no DNA.
I'm bold and beautiful. This is a woman's world.
In a woman's world, we don't believe in hypocrisy. We're not here to bash our men, neither to pretend that women don't mess up. Now, one of our male friends to the show recently agreed to talk with us about a situation that, let's say, doesn't really paint my gender in the best light, but we are definitely going to be real. Let's see what Dexter Blake had to tell our production team, and then we talk about it.
And when I went for the interview with my kids, and the guy's like, okay, the last thing now, step my brother, is you got everything, you have all the documents, and the last step for you to do now is to do the DNA. And I said, I was like, no man, these kids are mine, man. I don't need no DNA. I actually did the DNA twice. I went over and do it twice. Pay to do it over twice. And they said they're not not my kids, I went in a shock. I lost myself for a few minutes. I end up in the hospital, and come back around, and I was sick for days. I called one of the mom and I was cursing. Called both of them, actually. I was cursing, and then I come to my sense, and they all apologize, My son mom, she said, sorry. She swear on her life that I was the child father. My daughter mom, she also swear that she has been with another man, other than me. One of them I believe, and the other one I don't believe in one. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. I signed their birth certificate. Then they still have my name. I am still their father, even though I'm not their biological father. I'm still the one they call and says, Daddy, and I think about them every day, every Christmas, every night. And I take it to to a point where I say, something, let bygones be bygones. Like sometimes if a woman go out there and she knows a boy, I sleep with a man, even though a month ago I sleep with a man and maybe me get pregnant. But that man, they walk away from me a month ago and me not go see him back. I don't know what to do. And you find a man, I say, boy, me find him. And me not go take abortion, but me have an opportunity, if we make that, if we live with a great lie. And they know that there's a possibility to have a better life with their child. It's a stigma where, you find men that go through this, are experience this, tragedy, is that them kind of keep it with themselves and them, because, them brethren that go and laugh after them and tell them, say, boy, you get bun. It's a woman world, a woman rule. And trust me, no man The rule road, that's no matter you talk. When you get born twice or 3 times. Sometimes you get it 4 times in hot, but you better take it back. I may laugh, and some people may find it funny, but it's a serious matter. My voice is to tell the brethren and say, listen, don't stop. You know, once you love the child, once you're born with the child, and if the mom will give it or grant you the access for that child, just continue loving that child. It will never stop.
Before we touch on all of Dexter had to say, I want to introduce our guest, Senior Associate Counselor at Family Life Ministries, Sonia Winter. Thank you so much, Sonia, for joining us.
My pleasure.
We're going to look at some of the issues at play when it comes to paternity fraud, and that's what we're discussing today. We heard from Dexter. What's your reaction to what he had to say?
Well, I'm quite encouraged by Dexter, I must say, because there are cases where men discover that they're not the father, they're the biological father of children, and not all responses are like Dexter's. Quite often, the victims in these cases are innocent, and they're the children, and they suffer twice, not only because they were deceived about their identity, but then they suffer again because the father that they bonded with walks away. In his own hurt, he walks away, and so they suffer twice. They are dealt a blow in terms of their sense of belonging. You know, they're belonging to their mother, and whether they can trust their mom or not. And that's always an indicator of it. Children often take that as an indicator as whether they can trust the world. You know. And I have to say, I'm so encouraged by Dexter because he saved his children a second blow and a better hope at recovery and at leading a life of resilience, emotional resilience, you know, where they can take on other challenges in a healthy way.
One of the things that struck me about what Dexter said was that I guess some mothers do it because they want a better life for their children, and so they see an opportunity. Is that a justification, though? Is there ever a good reason to do that?
If the mother could understand the kind of emotional blow that this discovery does to a child, there's a likelihood that she probably would not do it. She's evaluating information at the time and deciding that perhaps this father can provide more financial support, or maybe she even thinks more emotional support. But if she could understand, if she could see the emotional damage in the way she could see a physical blow to the child, she probably would not make that decision.
So when a child finds out that that's not really my daddy, would you recommend that they then search for their real daddy, knowing that there's a possibility that they could get rejected again? I mean, that man might be like, no, how you're just bringing this to me now, you know?
You know what, I would support the child in whatever their own decision is. You know, because there's some children, I'm aware that there are many children, when they discover it, they have so tightly bonded with this person, and the person is still open to this relationship, that they feel a sense that I don't need to. I have my father, and that's what's important. They understand parenting in the same way that Dexter outlined it so nicely in what he had to say. And so some children don't have that urge, you know. But then there are others, when I say children, I mean adult children, you know, and there are others who many others, I imagine, I don't have the statistics, but I imagine there are many who also have this passionate desire to find out where they come from.
What about the men, though? Because when you see Dexter, my interpretation, without any professional training in counseling or anything like that, he's laughing, but for me, his eyes, he does seem hurt, which is understandable. So, and there's just so much there to unpack, because he has to be dealing with this while he still refers to them as his children. What is that process like for somebody going through something like that? What is that conversation with a person who has experienced something like that?
Well, you know what, that brings me to the whole matter of counseling. The truth is that, you know, Dexter, he sounds like he's well on his way to healing. You know, he's been able to sort of tease through all the facts and recognize for himself what's most important. And he has obviously decided what's more important than anything else is my connection with these two children. And that seems to give him meaning and a sense of groundedness, you know, to help. And that seems to be helping him to deal with it.
I'm going to ask you
Stacey.
to just hold just one moment, Sonia. We're going to get a clip of some comments we got on the road on this vexed issue, because you know it's something culturally that is pervasive and people have opinions on it. So just let's hear what they had to say.
Sometimes why women give man jacket is because them go around with a lot of man and them don't know which one get them pregnant, so them just find the one that is suitable enough that can maintain the child.
You see, the thing is, when you're having sex, unprotected sex with more than one male, there are times they don't even know who you got pregnant for. They just give it to the person who you think more can take care of the child.
Because they're wicked. Because if the child don't belongs to the man, you know, give the man the child. Because later the child will go sorry and you will go sorry when she find out say, I know our father. So our wickedness.
That is wrong. Every children should know them right father and get them right father name. It don't look good.
The woman them send around jacket, I say they're tramps. From creation till now, Eve was the one who started it. When she make the devil seduce her and give her one boy named Cain, that kill Abel. A man who understands sex, he know when he gets somebody pregnant. So if I go to a woman and I never get her pregnant, it's hard for she to tell me it's my child. Though I might be a Gladys and well one little pitney if you go par with her and say yes I feel me pitney. And me have a Chinese pitney a par with when me a black man.
I don't have a problem with it. If someone wants to accept a child, to grow that child as their own, then that's up to them. If it's her decision and it makes sense to her, more power to her. Wow. How I'd react to something like that is I don't know.
Well, what I will do will depend on the bond I have with the child or the children. Because even if it's not my biological kids and we develop a bond, then we can work with the kids same way. I say forgiveness is good, you know. So it's just human being and we're prone to mistakes, so we just have to move on.
I wonder how easy it is for the child to move on. And I would guess that the relationship between the mother and the alleged father would be ruptured. But what about the relationship between the mother and child? When the child finds out that that is not my daddy and you are the one who made the decision to trick me, essentially, what does that do to them?
It undermines the relationship, of course. Okay, it changes the way that they look at their mother. It can introduce a sense of confusion. You know, what else about myself don't I know? What else about the world don't I know? As I said earlier, how our mother, we interact with our mother gives us a signal as to how we will interact with the world, you know? And to the extent that I can't trust my mother anymore, then what can I really trust? So that introduces things, situations where how do I then deal with other relationships, you know? And that can be a sort of a crisis that just regenerates in other relationships, other intimate relationships and other relationships anywhere else, in all other domains of this child's life when they grow into adulthood, you know.
So we saw Dexter's response, DJ Linkage, he calls himself. We saw his response and he seems, as you said, to be on his way to coming to terms with it. But for a lot of men, being a victim in that way is very, very hard. Absolutely. And we have seen how some men respond. Most of them are not, you know, let's continue to take care of the child. I mean, aren't there some very good reasons we shouldn't be putting the men in this kind of position?
Well, in terms of their own mental health, you mean? For sure, of course, because they too are going to use that experience to influence how they then deal with other relationships going forward, and there's always a sense of insecurity that can manifest itself in so many unpleasant ways. You know, so that's the downside of that, you know.
So we have so many questions that we could ask, but we're almost out of time. But I don't want to let you go before I touch on the impact on the woman, because some people think that, you know, this kind of deception, you know, you just give the child to another man and then you're fine, but it does have impact on the woman as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And you know what, sometimes she believes that she's acting in the best interest of the child too, you know, and she's thinking that with all the information I have at my disposal in this moment, this is the best course of action. That happens sometimes too, and it's not that she's setting out necessarily to deceive anyone. She's believing that she's acting in the best interest of the child's future, you know. But also, you know, there's a sense of helplessness in that situation, where she's in a situation where she obviously doesn't feel empowered to state the truth and then face the consequences on her own. You know, so there's that sense that she's dealing with, and you know, perhaps it's a financial situation, or maybe it's just a situation of lack of self-confidence or whatever, but she's already in a diminished capacity of some sort when she's making that decision. You know, she just feels clearly that she can't control all of the outcomes.
And finally, Sonia, the impact on the family, the man's family, because I would imagine the child now has grandparents and aunts and uncles, and all of a sudden you've lost a grandchild, you've lost a, quote unquote, lost a niece or a nephew. I mean, just talk to us a little bit on that.
Well, a lot of times that depends, whether they lose that child or not depends on the family. So just like Dexter has decided to continue a relationship, grandparents, cousins, nieces, aunts, uncles, and so on, they too can make that decision, you know, and hopefully that the child is also willing to bond. A family is so important because it is instrumental in the definition of the child's sense of belonging. You know, so to the extent that that whole family disappears, again, that's an assault to the child's self-confidence, their whole sense of where do I come from, where do I belong, who can I lean on, you know. So to the extent that the family can come together, stay together and support this child, that's of course in the best interest of the child and the family too.
I know we're out of time, but just one thing, I know that we probably have viewers who have a big decision to make, you know, they're struggling right now. From your experience, from all the things that you know, what do you say to a woman who has a decision to make and she's thinking about giving a man a jacket?
You know what I would say to her? Get support. Talk it over perhaps with a professional, you know, get a professional to help you weigh all the consequences, a professional who can give you more information so that you can make an informed decision about yourself, your child, your family, your relationships.
Thank you so much, Sonia Winter, for being here, for sharing, for giving us some insight on this very important topic. And we will be right back. We have lots more information to share and some interesting conversation coming up on It's a Woman's World.
No man would want that to happen to them. It's better to mind a jacket more than this on your own. Yeah, because in the latter on, sometimes the jacket better, you know? Yeah.
I'm bold and beautiful. This is a woman's world.
It is something I hear often. Women who want a child but not a man. There are quite a few women who have a desire to have a child, but finding a man who will be a good partner and father can be a difficult task. For example, in Jamaica today, for a woman to find a man who is single, straight, educated, employed, intelligent, and emotionally stable is not easy. These are 6 basic criteria, but candidates who fulfill them seem to be hard to come by. Go to any tertiary level educational institution, and you will see 3 times as many women as men. Or men have apparently become marginalized or have marginalized themselves. The pool of good men is quite shallow, I am told. On this background, many women find themselves in a bind. They want to have children, but as their biological clocks tick and they are unable to find a partner, they give up on companionship and decide to just have a child. After all, who needs a man? right? Children do, actually. More specifically, they need fathers. Both boys and girls thrive when fathers are actively involved in their lives. Sometimes fathers leave or die, and no one saw it coming. But to deliberately have a child without a man is risky. Some women do wonderful jobs as single mothers, but some struggle emotionally, mentally, socially, and financially. Some think that they can manage, but later realize that they cannot. Also, when you have a child, you have no idea what you are going to get. Any number can play. You could get a child with a chronic and debilitating illness or a developmental disorder, such as autism, which will be a major challenge even to a couple. And as that child grows and sees other children with their fathers and experiences a void, he or she may become resentful, and the anger and resentment may be taken out on the mother. The maternal drive can be an extremely strong one, and as a man, I admit that I will never know what it feels like to want to carry a child and then do so and give birth to and nurture that child. So I try not to judge. But I believe that the idea is one that women should give very serious thought to before going down that road.
So we go from women who don't give the baby to the right man to women who don't want a man at all. Like them done. Nothing, I'll do it on my own. Ladies, what do you think?
From one thing to the next.
Yeah, like, they're over it. Just give it a baby.
You know, I'm very liberal and I'm a free spirit, but you see, parenting is where, and family structure is where I draw the line. And I don't think that that's not something that I would choose. If somebody wants to do that, more power to them if they think they can handle it. And I'm a little bit cautious in thinking that they can't handle it, simply because for as many married people that I know that are happy and it works and the father is active in their lives and the mom is doing their part, I also know quite a number of them who are married and that's not the case. The woman is doing it all on her own. The man provides financial support, but he's not there for the children emotionally. He never helps with homework, never picks them up from school, doesn't have the talk, is not there really other than just being physically there. And maybe if that's enough to say you're a father, then I don't know. But it's, for me, it's not something that I would choose.
Right.
But if somebody wants to do it and they have enough support, because what I've found is that growing up, we know about the nuclear family, but as time goes by and the more we're exposed, we're seeing different forms of family structure, and people have support. So if you do have it and you want to go that route, good luck.
Well, for me, as Dr. Abrams said, even if it's something where you start off with a family, or it, as you said, don't have to be an original nuclear family. You don't really need to be your biological father, but there is a father figure there. Because your child's father could die. I mean, something could happen and you're ending up now being a single parent. But I don't think it's something that you should choose because really and truly, children need their fathers. I mean, the research is there. Many adults, men and women, are dysfunctional because they never had a relationship with their father.
In fact, I think a lot of research points to the fact that many of the problems we have now in our country is because of a lack of fathers, because of the involvement or the lack of involvement from fathers. And as you said, to choose to do that, like to make a, if you have man a bops that you get licked, that's one thing. But when you make the decision to not or to deny a man, I don't know, the people need them fathers.
And then it goes back to even earlier in the season when we were talking about people pressuring people to procreate. Because now you feel that pressure because of the constant policing of women. You're getting older, you don't have any children, you don't have a man. So you say, you know what? I need to do something. I'm not going to get the ring or I'm not going to get a man. So let me have the child. Let me do one of them. Let me check one of the boxes. And then you find these very complicated situations that it's just too much and it's unfair to the children.
Because then it's about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's about you. And if it's only about you, then you're not in a position to effectively parent a child the way that they would need to be parented.
But you would be very surprised to know that a lot of people see people who don't have children and say that you're selfish for not having children.
Oh, yes.
So that also happens. And it's a strange phenomenon, but apparently
I don't know how that
it's a
works
thing.
though. I don't know how not having children is selfish, because I've heard it many, many times.
Yeah.
I've been told that. People will say, oh, it's because
I
you're
thought
selfish.
it sounded personal.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, they'll say it. But for me, because that's something that I value a lot, I think that a solid family structure is very important. And it may be because at a very young age, I lost my dad, who for me is the greatest man in life. Like nobody compares. I don't want that for my child. I don't want my child to grow up wondering, you know, what would it have been like if I had my dad around? So I wouldn't want that for a child.
And you know what I realized? Maybe I never realized it until I became a mother myself. Parenting is hard.
Oh, let me
the
tell you.
TV, all of the movies, it make it look so simple. It make it look like, oh, it will naturally happen and there are butterflies and cotton candy. It is hard.
Yeah, so
from the labor comes straight down. It's not easy, and to have to deal, and I have help.
I cannot imagine not having a relationship with my father. I mean, Ty's father was the greatest man alive, but my father is also the greatest man alive. You know what I'm saying?
And don't let me start talking about fatherhood. My daddy.
Which goes to show that there are lots of good men in the world, and we celebrate them.
And let me tell you something. It's growing up. You know, you always hear stories and people say, man, a dog and all them something there. But my father is the reason I know that there are good men. Growing up and seeing how he cared for us, interacted with us, and just was so selfless in how he loved us. That was why I could say, when people say, oh, all men are dogs. And I said, no, son, don't go so.
Right.
So it gave me hope. And if you don't have that, then you're going to be jaded and dysfunctional and have issues.
I would love to meet somebody who that was their situation, where either the child, because their mother chose to go that route, to really hear firsthand how that worked out for them. How are they feeling about it? Because I don't have a point of reference. I don't know. I'm just making an assumption that you're going to be scarred for life.
I know two people relatively close to me whose mothers decided, like, went to the sperm bank and now has a child. And so this is not to say that it cannot be done. And it's not to say that women are not strong enough or that they haven't had the forethought to think and plan and prepare, because I think women who do go to a sperm bank really do make preparation. These are women who really want a child and who really, many of them, who are prepared to do what needs to be done.
But then when you go to the sperm bank, you really don't know what you're getting though, because you don't know nothing about the man them. You don't know nothing about
all when you look through the book and it tell you everything,
issues.
right?
I mean, sometimes you meet somebody and you know them for years, and then you have children with them and you still don't know the man them. When you go on a sperm bank, what are you really getting?
A book, right? That tells you a
They
whole
don't
lot
have,
of
like, you get a profile. You get a profile. But I think also there needs to be honest conversation that a lot of times some women choose a partner more than they're choosing a father for their child. And if the man in the house is less about him being a father to the children and more about you having somebody in your bed. And we need to have those conversations as well, because it happens.
What about women who choose to adopt though? You know what I mean? So they're not going to a sperm bank necessarily, but there are a lot of children who do not have families, who are homeless and who need somebody to love them. And there are women who are like, you know what? I have love to give. I do have a man, but I don't want to prevent a child from getting that love. And so they say, you know what? Man or no man, I'm going to take this child into my home.
Well, ladies, as with every conversation, you know, so we can chat, right? So we will sit down here and chat till the morning. But we have another segment coming right up, so we're going to take a break. Soon come.
It's like, it's not a big deal. It's an armpit. It's a shoulder. Does it arouse you?
No, so we spent an entire season empowering women to come to the end of the season to tell them that they need to adjust their dressing because men are going to drool.
We're not talking about men. We're talking about boys.
I'm bold and beautiful. This is a woman's world. Get up. I am woman. I ain't got no time to waste.
Seriously.
Walking with my head down.
It's a woman's world, and we're talking about all things that have to do with our ladies and how we present ourselves. This segment, we call it, like, seriously, because we're actually talking about dress code and some things that we could consider gender biases. Now, we heard last year when the Prime Minister ordered a suspension on the no sleeveless ban, and it really caused a lot of discussion. Social media blew up with people talking about, I mean, in this day and age, you still have a policy that say you can't go into parliament. I mean, if you go to hospitals, you can't go there in a sleeveless. If you go to like government schools, you can't go there in sleeveless. And my thing is, sometimes it's like 98 degrees outside. And then there's this insistence. I mean, I've gone to drop my kids off at school. I mean, when I used to go to primary school, and I think I dress modestly. I mean, me not have nothing hanging out. And they would turn you back. You have to go back and get a little cardigan or something. And I'm like, but guys, come on.
I think it's a clear case of focusing on the wrong things. Like, it's not a big deal. It's an armpit. It's a shoulder. Does it arouse you? Like, why do you need it covered? There's nothing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, there are bigger things. When you go to parliament, you're there to talk about things, about the nation, the country, how it needs to be run. Why are you looking at people's arms and their shoulders and their armpits? When you go to when we go to the hospital to visit somebody, I'm visiting a sick person. They're not going to get a disease, or I'm not going to be cold. Like, we're focusing on the wrong things.
But these rules they're archaic, and they were created by men. And clearly they just couldn't focus. So you have to, it's another way again of men policing women. It's just another way.
Guys.
You have to, you can't wear sleeveless, because, and that's the fundamental problem I have with dress code rules. It's always about the woman being modest and conservative because the man can't control himself. It's always, almost always rooted in that.
Gentlemen.
You need to look a particular way so men don't sexualize you.
Look on my shoulder there. I'm asking my camera crew, right? Look on my shoulders. What is this doing for you right now? Like, well.
Okay, there you go. There you
like,
go.
Yeah.
Some dancing are going on
there.
There you go.
What?
Which is strange, because I could easily sexualize men for being in a well-fitted suit. It is the sexiest thing.
Yeah.
And they wear it every day to work.
There's something that I remembered a few years ago, going to a graduation. I'm getting the wrap-up signal, but I have to squeeze this one in. So we went to a graduation, high school graduation, and there was a teacher who was very, very voluptuous, nice-looking lady and everything, you know. And I remember my stepson saying when she was in class, how the boys would just, I mean, everybody's drooling. And I can only imagine that if she wore something that was very revealing, it would distract them. They're not going to learn nothing in that class.
She probably wasn't trying to be sexy in
no,
class.
she's not, to just how God make her. So I would imagine that she would have to kind of adjust what she wore, because these are teenage boys. Hormones are raging. So the dress code there would help them to be more focused. I know Ty don't agree.
No, so we spent an entire season empowering women to come to the end of the season to tell them that they need to adjust their dressing because men are going to drool.
We're not talking about men. We're talking about boys. We'll continue this conversation offset. This is a woman's world. We will be right back.
Okay. Carry on.
I'm bold and beautiful. This is a woman's world. Get up. I am woman. I ain't got no time to waste now. Won't keep walking with my head down. No.
My sleigh bells. We're on the last lap. I'm gonna miss you guys so much. We've spent the last 13 episodes talking about clothes and hair, makeup, skin. But today, we're gonna talk about something that Stacey Ann is very, very excited about. Stacey Ann is planning to get a tattoo on her chest.
Why is she so lie?
Wouldn't that be nice, though? Wouldn't that be nice? She sits here every day like she's Mother Teresa.
That not gonna
so
happen. No, leave me alone.
You don't like, you have something against, I mean, I understand you don't want it on your chest, but you don't like tattoos?
No, I'm not a tattoo. And Ty knows I am not into tattoos
I'm
at
not
all.
either, to be honest.
None of you have, you don't have any tattoos?
No. I mean, for a brief moment when I was about 19, I considered getting a tattoo one summer. It was supposed to be a little heart, maybe the size of my fingernail. And when I think about it, I'm say, Lord, what am I going to do? I'm 30, I'm going to like it, or may I get stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a no for me, and I moved on happily. I've never considered getting another one, and I don't like them.
At least at 19, it would have been... It would have been legal, because in Jamaica, at 16, you can consent to a medical procedure, but you can't consent to getting a tattoo.
And I agree
until
with that
you're 18
because
years old.
I have a 14-year-old, and although I have a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old, and me would have kittens if them come home with one tattoo. May I tell you the truth?
Why do you not like tattoos?
No, I don't like it. Me just maybe.
But why
me
would you have
old.
kittens and not puppies? That's what I want to know.
All right, Karine, you were saying. May I move on, you know. May I move on with my life?
You don't see any tattoos that you think are cool, even if you don't want them for yourself. You don't think generally that they're cute?
I don't like the markings on the skin. I don't like it at all. I mean, as I said, I thought about it very briefly and then decided that it was a bad idea.
Right. So you've never seen like a nice chiseled man with like a nice sleeve and it just
no, sir.
blows your mind?
Oh, no, sir.
That's hot. It's hot.
You know what for me is just off-putting? The 1 million tattoo upon yourself. No, that now is freaky. It look a little scary to me. No, I'm telling you, I'm honest about how I feel. I don't like it. It don't do nothing for me.
It scares you?
I have tattoos. I have two. I have one right here. I think it's very cute.
What that mean?
It's an M because first I was Miller, that's my maiden name, and then I became Muir, but I'm just M forever and my wedding date, so I can always remember. And then I have one on my ankle. So here's the thing with tattoos for me. They're fun when you just get them, if they don't have real meaning, and then you forget that they're there and it's like, why did I mark my body forever?
Yeah.
But at least if it's cute, it's cute. But you see the thing with tattoos is when your body starts to sag or change or move, then the shape of it like this.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
You know?
So that's the thing about tattoos. They're permanent. As opposed to piercings, I like to see piercings.
No, that is
but I'm
another
also,
thing.
Yeah, I like to see piercings, but I'm afraid of certain piercings. So like I pierce my nose and I pierce my ears.
Same.
But I don't think I'd pierce any other body part.
Right.
I tortured a doctor the other day when I called him to ask him if it was painful to have my nipples pierced. And he's like, you want to get your nipples pierced?
So why you would I ask him that? No.
Because it was fun. It's really...
Okay, so it's not
stress out the man.
A family friend, and I just wanted to stress him out.
But people do this, you know, and people think there are people who, first of all, there are people who think tattoos are fun, like the process of getting them, that people
and
enjoy
people get a rush
that.
From the
and tattoos have meanings for a lot of people. It's not just
in some cultures and as a rite of passage.
Right.
We also know that they use tattoos in other places, North America, to symbolize gang membership.
Right.
And that's another element that we could also look at. I mean.
But do you have any piercings?
Apart from in my ears?
Yeah.
No, miss.
Okay. I'm just checking.
So
I don't want to
say
assume
like
anything. It's 2019.
No, she know.
I don't know,
and she's trying to make me look like an old fogey because she do it all the time.
I'm not trying to make you look like an old fogey.
Hip and happening one, and I am judging at Judgeton.
I am
she
not.
Do it all the time
I
to
am
me.
not always young, hip, and happening. And I mean, I don't like tattoos for myself.
Let me give you guys advice on tattoos, though, just for the record. If you want to get a tattoo, be very, very mindful of where you're going to get it. You want to get it in a place where you can cover it if you have to go somewhere where, I don't know, maybe it's one of those dress code stuff where you can't show tattoos. So be careful of getting it on your face. Be careful of getting it the name of
and
someone who you're currently
current boyfriend who may not end up being the husband. Yeah.
Exactly.
Or even a husband who you may get a divorce.
True.
So you never know.
How you gonna say that after me just tell you say me have my wedding date and on my wrist.
You know what really
happened?
happened?
Gonna start
I
telling
didn't one of them time there when we never really listened to Carrie.
Yes. Do you see what she's doing now at the very, very end?
No, Karine, it's gonna be forever.
Clearly, absolutely.
Of course.
Forever, ever.
Put it out there. It's forever. It's
Go on
M squared.
Your nose ring now. Like
there's sometimes you're afraid it's like a little, booger.
Yeah, because I saw it one day and I'm like, what is in your nose?
But why people give people with tongue rings a hard time? I mean, I don't have one and I give them a hard time.
I think it's just one of those things that we do.
Why?
We do in Jamaica, and we judge things that we don't understand, and we make these we sexualize a lot of things. So apparently there's some sexual connotation to a nose ring, but I really don't know.
You don't know?
Why people need the accessory. It's either you know what you're doing or you don't.
Know what you're doing with what?
Exactly what the tongue ring means.
What is your dog know?
I don't know if
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I know if it's true.
No.
So,
but I hope you're married forever.
Without my tongue ring.
Yes.
But no, it brings a good point because people judge and make assumptions based on the type of where you have your ring.
That is true.
Because when you have nipple rings and you know that ladies, some super brave, super liberal women pierce their
It's called a
woo-ha.
clitoris.
So you
It's
can-
called a
You
clitoris.
can say clitoris.
Wait,
It's
I'm
okay.
woman enough I can say the
Yeah,
word.
We're
no?
grown.
They're
Yeah.
they're
But
pierced down there.
and then they have different ways in which they pierce it, because some people say, you know what, that's
Right.
another discussion.
Yeah, and we are
all
getting the rap
together.
Sound like the genital mutilation.
But it
to
was
me.
really, really fun having you guys here with us. I hope you enjoyed the sleigh bells. Back after the break.
I'm bold and beautiful. This is a woman's world.
It's the very last show of the season. I can't believe it's 13 weeks gone so fast.
It's a wrap, yo.
OMG.
It's over
Yeah.
for now.
This is why I should appreciate each other while you had the chance, because we had a good time and I'm fling enough stone and said enough things.
But we appreciated each other. I
We
didn't
love
think that we
you.
didn't.
We never did appreciate
Although
you.
you try to paint me in the light of a judge-a-ton.
But it's bittersweet.
Was that any different from the light you tried to paint me in, as if, okay, Ty's just out there as a wild child?
Can't we all just get along?
Life is going to be boring like that.
But we really tackled some issues,
Yeah.
I think. We shed some light on some injustices around the world. We also got some great laughs. We got some insight from various of our stakeholders. I mean, Ashley Home Furniture Store came in and did a great demonstration. Our partners from NCB were also here helping us to manage our finances. And we really, I think, gave people food for thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think in that way, we accomplished the
good. Yeah.
mission.
Yes.
And I really want to give a big shout out to Dr. Michael Abrahams. Like, I see Dr. Abrahams in a completely different light. And it was so good having a man give us his perspective, and it was healthy. I think we never do no man bashing more than so inside here. It was educational, inspirational, informative, and amazing, guys. And I feel like I'm making a speech at the Grammys. I just want to thank God. And I want to thank you guys for being here and doing this.
I want to thank Miss Peggy.
Miss Peggy, everybody, my good up husband. Guys, it was fun though.
It really was.
real.
And I learned so much. And it opened my eyes to a lot of things that women are going through that we don't really talk about. And it's so important to have the conversation. So it was really been an amazing 13 weeks with you, fierce, fabulous, and fine.
I'm telling you,
women.
and big shout out to Maxi Department Store that kept
keeping
us
us fabulous.
looking fly all season long, and to our hardworking production team.
Big
I
up on
can't
yourself.
say enough about our team that kept us
Amazing.
looking sharp. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you to our viewers on TV and on social media who shared feedback, who gave us your opinion on the topics that we pushed out every week. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate it. We love you.
Yeah.
Make sure you big up my sleigh bells. They were there with us through it all. Combing our hair, wearing our makeup, getting our skin taken care of. I love you guys.
And you know what? It's a good reminder that as women, we need each other. As women, let's continue to support each other, empower each other, and really build a sisterhood, because we can keep moving forward together.
Amen, sister. Amen.
I
Amen.
know, right?
And that's a wrap. It's a woman's world. What good?
Bye.
Wherever you are.
So long, farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye. Okay, no? All right, cool.
I don't even know.
I thought
how
because
to
it was the last one and we could like sing, and I always
But
wanted
you ever
to
sing
sing.
a song that we know? What was that? From Sound of Music?
Yes, from Sound of
You
Music.
could come a little more modern.
How do you not know? So long, farewell. Let's Mickey Mouse Club.
Oh, no.
From Mickey Mouse Club.
No. That's wrong. That's just wrong.
We should sing like a woman.
You're being
song.
ageist. You're being ageist. You're being ageist. Like a I am woman, hear me roar.
Yeah, one of those I
Like
will
a-
survive type of.
No, but we're not struggling though.
No, we're not
We're not
struggling.
struggling. We
Not
dare, you
survive.
know.
Yeah,
And we're
of it,
we
like
have
that.
it, we have it, locked.
Yeah.
We just learn more.
Clothing provided by Maxi Department Store and set design by M Style XP.
Got no time to waste now. Won't keep walking with my head down. No, oh, oh, oh. Get up. I am woman. It's a woman's world, and I live my life on purpose. Oh, 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 oh. Woman to woman.
It's a Woman's World was brought to you by JPS, NCB, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Phase 3 Productions, M-Style XP and TVJ.
I'm courageous, I'm bold and